We've got a story now. It's the story of Kundadanta. And it's a typical Yoga Vasistha story in that it is a very accurate portrayal of reality and our response to it. And within it arises the light of self-enquiry, and then we eventually get the teaching on self-enquiry. So I think it's a good approach to take to the Yoga Vasistha stories, is to try and understand the feel of reality which it's imbuing. And this is our ordinary reality. It's reality as it is. It's reality as we normally experience it, which is a convoluted, chaotic whirlpool of notions within notions, ideas within ideas, that we're sucked into and that we do our best to navigate through. So here we go. Rama said, "Lord, once when I was in my teacher's house, someone came in. He was extremely radiant. He had come from the court of the king of Videha. He saluted the assembled holy ones. We students also greeted him appropriately. When he had settled down in his seat and had rested a little, I asked him, 'Holy One, you seem to be fatigued from a long journey. Where do you come from?' The Brahmana replied, 'Yes, you are right. I am seeking for something, and I am fatigued on account of intense exertion to attain it. I shall tell you why I am here. I am a Brahmana from the country of Videha. I am known as Kundadanta. I became disinterested in the affairs of the world, and I sought the company of holy men and ascetics. On the Sri mountain, I lived for a considerable time practicing penance. On that mountain one day I saw a strange sight. An ascetic dangled from the branch of a tree with his feet tied to the branch. I saluted him and drew near to him. I thought, this ascetic is surely alive, for his body responds to the changes in the climatic conditions." You still see this in India. You still see people practicing asceticism, and they take the human body to the extremes of endurance. It's quite remarkable. Spiritually, it's difficult to see any point in this. The body can undergo some quite bad distortions, and the state of the mind of such a person, well, who can describe it? They must be in some very exotic state of consciousness. I stayed there for a few days and served him and won his confidence. One day I asked him, "With what aim are you engaged in this penance?" The ascetic replied, "Embodied beings have many interesting goals in life." So he didn't really want to answer the question. I persisted in my question. The ascetic said, "I was born in the city of Mathura and was brought up there. I had acquired knowledge of the scriptures. I heard the king enjoys all kinds of pleasures. I was inspired by that goal. I decided to become the emperor of the entire world." So this ascetic is practicing penance so that he can experience unlimited pleasures. "Hence I came here and have been engaged in this penance for the past 12 years. I have answered your question. You had better go your way. I shall continue my penance." So this ascetic wants to become emperor of the world. And he's doing it by hanging upside down from a tree. One wonders how he handled his waste products. The Brahmana continued, "I requested him to accept my service as long as he carried on his penance. The moment I said this, he closed his eyes and became as if dead. For 6 months from that day I remained in that place and served him. One day there appeared in that scene a being as radiant as the sun. I offered him due worship, and the ascetic worshipped him mentally. That radiant being said to the ascetic, "O ascetic, let this asceticism cease, and I shall grant you the boon of your choice." So this must be the god. "You will become the emperor of the whole earth and rule for 7,000 years, remaining in this very body of yours." After bestowing this boon, the radiant being vanished from sight. When he had gone, I said to the ascetic, "Now that you have obtained the boon of your choice, terminate this penance and return to your normal duties." He accepted. I snapped the rope with which his feet were bound to the tree. Both of us then went to Mathura. I doubt whether it would have been so easy just to carry on walking, unless there were gaps in the penance and he gave himself a break now and again, but I think that's quite unlikely. The Brahmana Kundadanta continued. En route to Mathura, we spent some time in a village known as Ruda, and 2 days in a city known as Salam. On the 3rd day we reached a forest. There the ascetic abandoned the popular route and said to me, "Let us go to the Gauri Ashram, which is near here. There my 7 brothers live. We are 8 brothers. Though we were born as separate individuals, we were all unified in the one consciousness, and we all had the same goal which we determined to reach. On account of that, they too are engaged in the performance of penance. I came here along with them, and in the beginning I saw this forest, in which there was the Gauri Ashram. Come, let us go to the ashram, which purifies one of all sins. The minds and the hearts of even scholars and knowers of the truth are filled with eagerness to visit holy men. Surely we should consider it a great blessing to have the opportunity of visiting this hermitage." When we approached the area of the ashram, we saw on the barren ground as if a deluge had washed the hermitage away. There was not a tree, no hermitage, no human being, no sage, nothing. Both of us simultaneously exclaimed, "Alas, what has happened to this place?" Then we roamed that area and saw a solitary tree. When we approached this tree, we saw seated under it an aged ascetic who was deeply engrossed in samadhi. We sat near him and waited for a considerable time, but he did not get up from his meditation. I then went near him and shouted at the top of my voice, "O sage, get up from meditation." When I said this, the sage opened his eyes and uttered these words in a voice resembling the roaring of a lion. "Holy ones, who are you? What happened to the Gauri Ashram that stood here? Or who has brought me to this desolate place? What epoch is the present?" We were puzzled. I said to him, "Surely, O sage, you know everything. Therefore only you can answer your own questions. Why do you not see all that has happened through your own yogic vision?" When I said this, the sage once again went into deep meditation, and through his inner psychic vision, he learned everything that had happened. The sage remained silent for a while and then said to us, "Holy ones, listen to this wondrous narration.